Hi, I'm Barbara Eidenauer.
And I'm Kathy Chipley.
You guys ready for the holidays?
I'm not.
I'm getting there.
Well, to help everyone out, we welcome special guest Lynn Tolley, all the way from Lynchburg and Jack Daniel's Tennessee Whiskey.
And you know, I have brought some delicious Smoky Mountain menu ideas for us.
Can't wait.
Now, for other holiday inspiration, we've got a showstopper dessert and a delicious entree.
All this and more starting now. Welcome to Dierbergs Presents Everybody Cooks. Hi, I'm Barbara Eidenauer.
And I'm Kathy Chipley. We're so glad you tuned in tonight. We're kicking off the holiday season with a few highlights from the December issue of the Everybody Cooks magazine. Now, menu planning this time of year can be a little bit of a challenge, but we've got you covered. Whether you're planning a small gathering for friends, or maybe an upscale menu for just a few, or an elaborate menu for a larger group. And we've got a showstopper dessert, and you are not going to believe how easy it is to make.
Now, we have invited a special guest to come into our kitchen and cook tonight, and we are glad to welcome Lynn Tolley back to our kitchen. Lynn, welcome to St. Louis again.
Barb, you're so nice to have me on the show. Again, I appreciate it.
We just love having Lynn here. She is the great-grandniece of Jack Daniels. She is the proprietress of Miss Mary Bobo's Boarding House in Lynchburg, Tennessee, and actually just a very distinguished cookbook author.
And a whiskey taster.
Oh, absolutely. One of the few women, right?
That's right. It's lots of fun. I have a good job.
Oh, well, let's see what we're going to be cooking for this special menu. This is something that'll be great for just any kind of a holiday occasion, right?
Exactly. And instead of ham and turkey that everybody thinks of for the holidays, let's do pork tenderloin. And we're going to do it a special way.
A great change of pace.
Okay. So I took a pork tenderloin, we sliced it, and let's just take our mallet and just sort of flatten our pork slices. That's going to make it brown a little bit better. Okay. Now we're going to add some spices to it. Now our spice mixture is cinnamon, ginger, sage, thyme, salt, and pepper. So let's put a little bit. If you'll flip those over,
sure.
We want to put it on both sides of our tenderloin. Thank you very much. In the meantime, we've got a skillet getting hot over here on the stove. I'm going to put a little bit of oil in there. Set that aside.
Now, this is an unusual combination to have both sweet and savory spices.
You know, it's going to be so good, though, because we're going to put a little apple and onion in it that's going to tie it all together.
So is that Southern tradition or is that Lynn's tradition?
I don't know. Who knows? Yeah. Let's just do it.
Okay, it smells great.
So we're going to put our pork tenderloin in our hot oil skillet. See, it's nice and sizzling. And we want it good and hot, Barb, because we want it to have a nice brown coating on it.
All right.
It's going to take maybe 4 minutes per slice for the pork to brown. Okay, Barb, so we've just browned off our pork tenderloin. I'm going to put that into a little reserved pan where we're going to keep it warm. Now, into our little drippings, we've got a little oil in here and some of our spices. We're going to put an apple and some onion. Okay. And I leave the peeling on my apple because I think that color will be really pretty in there. So we're just going to stir this around until it's nice and softened. And that's going to take just a few minutes because we want it to begin to cook and get all those nice little caramelized bits off the bottom of our skillet.
Okay. And then you're going to be adding some Jack Daniels to this. So, tell us a little bit about Jack Daniels. I mean, it's like in the bourbon family, whiskey. Tell us what makes it special.
You know, Barb, everyone wants to put Jack Daniel whiskey in the bourbon category. It does not belong there. No. Ours is a Tennessee whiskey. It says it right there on the label. You might say, what's the difference? Everybody asks me that. The difference is that our whiskey goes through an extra step that Kentucky bourbon does not. Okay. And that's the charcoal mellowing process. So when you come in toward the distillery, which I hope you'll do one of these days, you will see the charcoal mellowing, and it really smooths our whiskey out, makes it mellow, flavorful, unique, and gives it a true Tennessee twist.
But you can't drink it right there in Lynchburg, can you?
Can you believe Lynchburg, Tennessee is in a dry county?
Oh, my goodness.
We've been dry since Prohibition, so you cannot get a cocktail at any of the restaurants in Lynchburg. But that doesn't mean you can't come to my house and sit on the front porch and we can drink it then.
Oh, I'd love to come sit on your porch with you. That would be fun.
You should. I just can't sell you a drink,
and
but we
can
can
cook
certainly
with it, right?
drink it. And at Miss Mary Bobo's, the restaurant I run in Lynchburg, you can certainly cook with it. So we slip it into lots of food so our guests will at least have had a little taste of it.
Wonderful.
So this has gotten nice and soft. And let's add some more ingredients. Let's put in our apple cider. And then let's turn the flame off before we put in our Jack Daniel whiskey.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Totally good, because we don't want to be too dangerous. So let's put in about the same amount of whiskey that we put of the apple cider.
Okay.
So now we'll turn our flame back on, because that could be a little hazard, so let's not do that.
All right.
So once this starts to simmer, and it's already simmering, let's go ahead and put our pork medallions back into our apple and onion and cider and whiskey mixture, and it will finish cooking.
All these aromas are just starting to mix together.
It does smell good, doesn't it?
And I'm going to bet that the pork is going to absorb a lot of that nice flavor, too.
It is, absolutely. And if you've got any little drippings left in the bottom of your pan, be sure and add that to your mixture, too. There we go. Now we're going to let that sizzle. In the meantime, while we make cornbread.
Oh, I think that sounds terrific. All right, so to make the cornbread, you like to use a cornbread mix, right?
I do. It's self-rising. It already has the baking powder and salt in it. We are using white cornmeal because white cornmeal is traditional in the South, in the deep South.
Well, that's not what you normally find around here. We usually use the yellow.
Yeah, out west they use the yellow.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you want to make it Tennessee style, use white.
All right, well, let's try that, because I have tried this, and it's really, really good.
So here's our cornmeal mixture. Let's put in buttermilk, another thing I really like to cook with, Barb. When you're making cornbread, let's use buttermilk and not just plain old milk. Let's put in a little oil. We've got our egg here ready to go. I am going to start whisking this up.
Okay.
And you don't want to stir your batter too much, because it will make a dense product.
Yeah.
So let's just sort of stir it till it's combined, and then it's ready. In the meantime, we have a cast iron skillet that you're going to get right out of the oven for me.
Let me grab it for you.
So y'all, cast iron makes the best cornbread. It's going to hold the heat and make the best crust. You've got a hot skillet here. We've got a little oil in the bottom. I'm going to add our batter to it. Oh, isn't that nice? That means the crust is going to be good.
And you know, I just can't get any easier. What, you have 4 ingredients in this?
I know. See, when you use self-rising, it's so much easier. If you'll put that back in the oven for us, and we're going to cook that.
Do that.
And then in your magazine, we have a wonderful recipe for stuffing mix. And it has dried cranberries in it, some pecans, lots of good spices, and we're going to serve that with our pork tenderloin.
This is really good. It combines some actually toasted bread cubes along with that cornbread. That's a kind of a unique combination, I think. I haven't had that before.
You know, I like the bread in it because it helps the texture of your dressing.
Yeah.
So let's just put a couple of spoonfuls of this wonderful dressing on here. You've got a pretty plate with the red border. We'll step over here. We'll get our pork medallions. Put those onto the side, and we've got a spoon because I want to get some of the apples and onions and a little bit of our sauce to go right on top there. And you know, Barb, we use sage in our spice mixture, so let's take a sage leaf, a nice big one, and let's garnish with that. So what do you think?
Oh,
how is that?
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And can't wait to dig in and taste it. Now, Lynn also has recipes to round out the meal. There's greens, a traditional Southern dish.
There is a great cranberry fluff. Have you tried that?
I haven't.
It is so good.
Yeah.
My mother wouldn't have a holiday meal without cranberry fluff. And you just whip it up in the food processor, grind up your cranberries, add a little whipping cream and other things. You'll love it.
And you know, holidays are so full of tradition. That's great to share your mom's tradition there. And there's a Tennessee jam cake. Oh my gosh, that's wonderful.
Oh, it's really good.
With a Jack Daniel's glaze over the top.
This is an old-fashioned recipe because way back when you couldn't get fresh fresh fruits in the wintertime, they would use blackberry jam in their cakes.
Yeah.
And then nowadays you can garnish with whole blackberries, so it'll be real pretty.
Well, it is delicious. But now we want to start any kind of a party with a cocktail of some sort, right? So let's see what we're going to make tonight.
Why not? Yeah. That's why I'm here to talk about all these wonderful drinks.
Okay.
And this is a brand new product, Barb. It just came out this April, and this is Jack Daniel Tennessee Honey Whiskey. You're going to love it, and we're making a hot toddy out of it. We've got some hot tea already made. I used English breakfast, but any kind of black tea works real well. So we've got our tea. Let's put in some good old Tennessee Honey Whiskey.
I am a real tea nut, so I can't wait to try this.
It's so good. I think you're going to love that. Here, let's put in a little extra honey because we really want it nice and sweet.
Okay.
So several tablespoons of honey. And then we've got mugs. I think your mugs you're using today are perfect because they're clear. And they're going to, let's see, I need a spoon to stir this with.
Okay.
Tell you what, I'll use this one.
Sure.
I'm going to stir that around and make sure our honey is incorporated. We'll put our lid back on here. Pour it into our mugs, and in our mugs we've got a cinnamon stick that's just going to make it even prettier, a little nice garnish. And then we've got a wedge of lemon. Let's put that in each.
Looks pretty.
There you go. And here you go, Barb.
Oh, thank you.
And we will toast the holidays.
Ah, cheers.
A nice hot toddy.
So nice to have you here.
Delicious. Do you like it?
Oh, that's very nice. Yeah, just enough of that honey whiskey in there. Not too much. Just
exactly.
Wonderful. Yeah. Well, we are so glad that Lynn was here tonight. I hope you'll try some of her recipes because it makes a wonderful holiday meal. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, Kathy and I are going to show you how to make a European-style cake. It's beautiful, it's delicious, but really easy. So we'll show you how.